This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like aloe or skins, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. With Shop Pay, that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts are going abandoned and way more sales happening. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Skins uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Elan's Matchup Maximizer, a podcast presented by Keeping Carlson, where I, Elan Dubrovsky, take a look at next week's NHL schedule to try to figure out who are the players we should be targeting to maximize our head-to-head matchups. We're going for GPs from GPs. We want games played from good players. I just actually came up with that on the spot. Clearly a sign that this is going to be a great episode. It's a big week for a lot of people. If you're still fighting in your fantasy playoffs, you got to win, right? We're at the stage now where next week, like any week, is just the most important week of our frickin' fantasy lives. And so I'll do my best to try to come up with some players to target next week. It's an interesting schedule, though. You got to take a look at your rosters. I know they say that every week, but next week especially, because we've got our typical Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Those are pretty light, but not like too light. There's still a decent number of games. We're talking 8 teams, 12 teams, and 16 teams for our Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. And then Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday are like busier, but all potentially days where you might have an opening on your roster, depending on your makeup. It's just 20 teams playing on Tuesday, 20 on Thursday, and then 22 playing on Saturday. So you could be potentially full on Tuesday and not on Saturday for a particular position. So yeah, it's not going to be like a typical, when it's just Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday are super busy and all the other days are light. So we're going to look at who's playing the most light days. Like, you really need to make sure that you don't add a guy playing 3 times, but you're not going to be able to fit him in on one of the days. You know what I'm talking about, right? And also on the flip side, I've got 3 teams that I'm deeming as playing 4 light day games because I'm counting the Saturday as busy and the Tuesday and Thursday as not, because I needed a cutoff. And usually I say less than 22 is like not busy. And Saturday, like I said, is exactly 22. And the Tuesday and Thursday are 20. So like, we've got 3 teams that I think you're most likely to be able to fit 4 games in from, being the Montreal Canadiens, the Utah Hockey Club, and the Vancouver Canucks. So, but yeah, like really, like any of the teams playing 4 times, it's possible you can fit all 4 games. So we'll do our best, but I think this is going to be one of those where Trev, at the end, our accountabilities are on the Keeping Carlson Discord. Is just going to have a list of like 20 people that I mentioned, but I guess, what else is new. But let's go see who are some players to target on these teams playing 4 times. I'll start with these 3 teams, like I said, that give you 4 games and are skipping the busy Saturday. So Montreal goes Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday. Not a bad schedule. Of course, again, I will say there are some teams playing 4 times that are done by Saturday. So if you can fit that Saturday game, that might be actually more appealing than 4 games ending on Sunday, just because you could drop that player for another stream on Sunday, either a Sunday savior or an ad to help you with the following week, assuming you're going to win. Again, you really, I can't stress enough, okay? But I'll just get into it at this point. But you got to make sure that you're checking for yourself here. But let's start with Montreal. Like I said, look, it's tricky. So I'm recording this right now, Saturday night. It's right now 2-0 for the Avalanche over Montreal. So I don't have anything really new to tell you today. And as far as like who's hot on the Habs, it's mostly players that you're not going to be able to stream. Like we're looking at Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki, Slavkovsky. So I've mentioned on recent episodes of the podcast that all 3 of them are looking really good lately. I guess Slavkovsky has cooled down a little bit. He's had 2 pointless games in a row going into today, though he did have 5 shots in each of those games. Slavkovsky is rostered in 65% of leagues, so maybe in your shallow league, he could be out there. I would be very interested in a 4-game week like this. Like I said, Patrick Laine is a clear guy to go after if you can get him. He scores power play goals like no one else. Had a goal and an assist against the Islanders in the previous game. But yeah, assuming you can't get one of these guys, Mike Matheson has been like not amazing, so maybe he's been dropped, but he's good for peripherals. So he gives you that blocks and shots floor. Pointless in 4 going into today. I would definitely, especially if it's a situation where you can't fit a forward 4 times, but you can fit a defenseman, then definitely I would say that Matheson is high up there. But again, I'm not expecting him to be available to you. So who does that leave us with? I mean, I'll give you some names. Brendan Gallagher had a really good couple games, right? He had a goal and 2 assists versus Ottawa, and that was followed up by a goal versus the Islanders. Now he's playing today. We'll see what happens. But Gallagher's been playing with Josh Anderson and Christian Dvorak, so I guess it's the bottom 6. But really, it's just like a top line and nothing else. Like, let's be real here with Montreal. Like, is really the line A line that doesn't play that many minutes like better? So someone else is going to have to score aside from just that Habs top line. So why not Brendan Gallagher? He used to be a star. I know he was cold for a super long time, but who knows if maybe this could be the start of something. So not a guarantee, but in a deeper league, I think I'll definitely have players that I'm more excited about. But I think that Gallagher is someone I would at least look at. Again, on defense, if you can't get Matheson, maybe go for poor man's Mike Matheson and Alexandre Carrier. He has been getting some blocks and some shots every game. Every once in a while, he gets an assist. And I guess actually very rarely. But I like those peripherals. So you get a solid floor in your categories league. Carrier might be someone that's already rostered in your league just because those solid. He gets hits too, so he's kind of like covering your shots, hits, and blocks pretty well. Maybe one day one of these shots is going to go in. It's possible. Sometimes shots do get to the back of the net, or maybe at least someone's going to bang in a rebound and he'll pick up an assist. So I think 4 games from Alex Carrier. I'm going to call it right here. 1 point. You're going to get 1 point. I don't know if it's going to be a goal or an assist, but I think Carrier is going to get a point in these 4 games along with decent peripherals. So that's definitely someone else who I would consider. I guess in the same vein, you can go with David Savard. Had 8 blocks in the last game against the Islanders before today against Colorado. So definitely, again, you're getting your nice peripheral floor. Sometimes that's nice. In a week where it's going to be a tight matchup, just you could take a swing and grab a forward that might do absolutely nothing. Like a Cody Glass on New Jersey. I know some people are excited about him because he had a couple good games. He's playing with Jesper Bratt, but you could also see Cody Glass just get 0 points. But a Carrier or a David Savard seems like you're going to get a solid 2 couple points per game right there, and then you're just hoping that he gets a couple points, like a goal or an assist, that brings him over the top and makes it a decent enough stream. So I think those would be the people I'm most interested in. There's also Jake Evans. I don't know. I think Gallagher's the one. If I'm going to pick a forward, there's Josh Anderson. I guess I could just tell you all players on Montreal. Anderson had a 2-goal game a couple games back. I think I don't know, something about Gallagher. I was reading a bunch of articles about him and his mom died and then he played and he was motivated. I don't know. It's probably nothing, but it's obviously nothing to him. It's a significant life event and heart goes out, but I wonder if there's something to him playing with some more motivation, or these are professional athletes. They probably play with the same motivation for the most part, but I don't know. I'm touched enough by the Gallagher story to think maybe he'd be someone that could be interesting and do something for you in a critical matchup. So, all right, that's the Habs. I hope I didn't put my foot in my mouth too much there. Let's do the Utah Hockey Club next. Here's a guy who you may have been able to stream a while back because he was ice cold. I believe Brian and I said on the podcast you should drop him. So a typical keeping Carlson flub. Like, what am I supposed to do here? But Logan Cooley, he was okay when we said it on the podcast that he's looking like someone like, why are we holding him? He was mired in a pointless streak of 7 games. He was off the top power play. Recently, Cooley back on the top power play. He's bumped Barrett Hayton, and Cooley is going nuts. He just scored 2 goals and assists today against Tampa Bay, a critical game, and he's on my opponent's couple team, obviously. Cooley's now 40% rostered on Yahoo in a serious league. Like, if you're getting Logan Cooley out of free agency on this hot streak after listening to this podcast for a 4-game week coming up, Monday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday, that is like kudos to you, but also like kind of like maybe you need a more serious league. No shade, but that's a streamer of the week for sure. 40% rostered. He's probably taken though in a serious league. Nick Schmaltz, 33% rostered. Same thing. Like, I don't understand why he's not higher on Yahoo, but I'm just looking at the numbers and telling you what I see here. Again, in the vein of defensemen, Sean Dursey had a couple good games recently. He had a goal against Edmonton, had an assist against Vancouver, had 4 blocks today, no points in the 6-4 win, which is obviously disappointing, but 4 blocks, not too shabby. And generally, he does take more shots. He had no shots today. So I think if you need D, that's pretty good. If Sean Dursey's out there, only 15% rostered. But I think that kind of does it, unfortunately. Like, the way that Utah is set up is kind of like a Montreal. I guess there's 2 lines, though. But yeah, they were rolling like Cooley, Schmaltz, and Keller. So you have Gunther, who's probably taken on the next line with Hayton and Carconi. And like, so I guess Barrett Hayton is someone who might be getting dropped because he's cold and he's been bumped from the top power play. So yeah, like, I don't have so much. I've never had so much faith in Hayton, and he actually made me look kind of dumb when he went on that hot streak before. But once again, if Hayton's not on the top power play, I don't expect him to get a ton of points. But, you know, Utah has a lot to play for, and depending on what your options are, definitely someone I would be interested in. Probably put him at the same level as Brendan Gallagher for me at this point. Like, could go off, could do nothing, but like, as far as if you want someone on this team with a good schedule, could be okay. Then the other team I said that plays 4 off-day games are our Vancouver Canucks. I actually have a message to a member of the Vancouver Canucks. Kevin Lankinen, I have vouched for you for years. Like, I've come on the podcast that I think you're a good goalie. You've somewhat rewarded me. It's been a good season. You've taken advantage of the opportunity. Now you have a big contract. Good for you. I'm in the finals of my Dynasty League. Categories Dynasty, okay? Like, this is a big matchup. How are you letting in 4 goals on 11 shots today against the Rangers? Like, if you let in 11 shots, like if Vancouver puts up the defense where you only have 11 shots against Kevin Lankinen, I need a W at least. You got a loss and you let in 4 goals and 7 saves, a 636 save percentage. This league actually only counts even strength save percentage. This is a 500 even strength save percentage for Kevin Lankinen today. Just dreadful. What a terrible game. Really frustrated with that result. So yeah, that wasn't good. Still probably, if you can get Kevin Lankinen, I guess you stream him for a 4-game week. I know Demko's practicing. I don't know exactly. I don't even want to get into goalies and trying to recommend that, especially when games like this could happen and totally crush you. But as far as that goes, I guess the big news out of Vancouver right now is that Elias Pettersson sat out the 3rd period in this game today against the Rangers. Apparently suffered an injury on a face-off during the 2nd period. He returned to the game briefly before being ruled out for the remainder of the contest, is what I'm reading. So that's going to cause, he's finally kind of turning things around. But yeah, that does make you wonder then, like, who are the players you're going after on Vancouver? Now the lines are going to be in flux. It's hard for me to really give you a sure thing right now. I mean, Brock Besler's looking good, but he's probably taken. He's scored now 5 goals in the last 3 games. So kudos to him. As far as people that are like not so heavily rostered, Kiefer Sherwood had 12 hits today. If he's somehow out there, even in a league like a couple where a hit is only 0.25, that's 3 fantasy points right there. And yeah, Sherwood today had no shots or blocks or goals or assists, so he was only 3 fantasy points. That's a pretty good floor, though. That's pretty sweet. So if you can get Kiefer Sherwood, like if it's a categories league, he's taken, long gone. It's like leading the league in hits by a mile, but maybe still out there in some leagues. Jake DeBrusk, 34%. He had an assist today in 8 shots. Maybe he steps up with Elias Pettersson out of the lineup. I don't know. You got Connor Garland. He is only 28% rostered. So I think any of these people that I've mentioned, you go for at this point with a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday schedule. The opponents are the Devils, the Islanders, Columbus, and Winnipeg. I don't know. So, they should be able to score some goals, you'd think, against New Jersey, Columbus. We'll see about the Islanders and Winnipeg. So I would go for any of those that I just mentioned. So again, that would be okay. Then I guess the one that Shams wanted me to call out was Pew Suter, who was on a hot streak when we recorded that Short Shifts episode. I said I wasn't so into him. Small sample, but on Thursday, no points for Pew Suter, and today, no points for Pew Suter. So, but I guess you can do worse. But I'm not going to vouch for Pew Suter. I'm not into him. If anything, maybe Jonathan Lekkerimäki is kind of fun on the top power play. So the top power play in this game against the Rangers was Besser, Connor Garland, Lekkerimäki, and Pew Suter. He was there. Quinn Hughes, of course. So, but I don't know. Still, I think that he's the guy I would like the least of those ones. And I think, yes, I'd go Lekkerimäki over Pew Suter, just a gut call. But definitely Pew Suter has a higher floor. Lekkerimäki could get sent to the minors, though if Pettersson's injured, then who knows? So that's Vancouver. Was this helpful? I don't think so. Probably all the people I mentioned are taken, and then I'm not so sold on a Suter or a Lekkerimäki. What happened to Philip Hedl? He has a concussion, and it looks like we don't know when he's going to be back. So if Hedl comes back and gets a high spot in the lineup with Pettersson out, maybe he's someone to look at as well. Nils Höglander was on a bit of a run, but he was also injured in this game. So I guess you can't be jumping on a Nils Höglander right now. All right, so those are the 3 teams that have 4 games, not including the Saturday, but I'll still come back and tell you the other teams that play 4 games next week because, like I said, you might be able to fit all these games potentially depending on your roster. So we'll be back in a sec. This NHL season has been as predictable as a puck rolling on its edge. No one knows where it's going, but that just means there's time for your favorite team to figure things out and games left for you to get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. And if you're new to DraftKings, listen up! New customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777. Or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ice.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like aloe or skins, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. With Shop Pay, that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts are going abandoned and way more sales happening happening. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Skins uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
O'Reilly. Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
So I've got 9 teams now to throw at you that still play 4 games next week. So I guess I'll try my best not to go so deep on each one. Otherwise, this will be a super long show. But yeah, there's, like I said, a potential that you're getting a good streamer from a lot of these teams. We got to figure out who are our top streamers here. Let's start in Dallas because they have 2 good weeks in a row with 4 games in each. And next week, yeah, Dallas is going Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. I'm going to start with the teams that play now, with Saturday being the last game as opposed to a Saturday, Sunday, just because that means that you can drop that streamer and potentially move on. Though with Dallas, maybe you're not dropping that streamer because they also have a good schedule in the finals. Like I said, I dropped Mikael Granlund going into this week because he had been doing nothing forever. So, of course, he kind of went off here, had 2 goals against Anaheim, had an assist today against Philly. If there's another dodo like me that dropped Mikael Granlund, I think he's a clear guy to add. There was like a moment where he was even getting like moved up the lineup and playing with like a Rope Hintz. Looks like today Dallas went back to their typical, so Hintz, Robertson, Rantanen, Granlund with Marchment and Duchesne, and then Jamie Benn with Dodonov, who's back in the lineup, and Wyatt Johnston. So I don't expect Granlund to pop off like in a crazy way if that deployment continues, but clearly he's someone who has that capability. So I think that's a no-brainer for the rest of your fantasy playoffs. Looks like I'll be probably eliminated. So maybe you shouldn't be listening to me, but definitely don't do what I did. And if someone did, go get Mikael Granlund. But he's at 61% rostered on Yahoo, so not many people did what I did. You have Jamie Benn, 55% rostered. He's been pretty like blah. Like he had assists in 3 straight games though going into today. Not that many shots, but yeah, assuming obviously you're not getting a Rantanen, Robertson, Johnston, Thomas Harley, Rope Hintz, Matt Duchesne. So who's left? Jamie Benn. Okay, so go get him. Go get Mason Marchment if he's out there. Like this is a good schedule for 2 weeks of guys who have gotten some points. Like Mason Marchment, no points today in the 3-2 win over Philly, but had points in 4 straight games before that. My order would be Granlund, probably then Marchment, and then Benn, I would say. And then if we're digging deeper, if all those players are rostered, I think then we're looking at D. We're looking at like an Esa Lindell, who's been solid enough. He did score a goal today against Philly. Again, this is just like your peripheral floor and hoping for a point. Leon Bixel, if you need the hits, if the hits are worth something, he's putting up pretty incredible numbers. 7 hits today and 2 blocks, just not doing anything else to help you. But depending on how much hits are worth for you, that could be a guy to look at as well. So that is Dallas. Let's go next to the Detroit Red Wings, who have a similar schedule. So we're looking at Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Dallas was Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. But yeah, so Detroit, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Again, make sure you can actually fit the Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, as they're all like busy-ish, but not super busy days. If you can fit 4 games from a Detroit Red Wing, I think that the no-brainer here is you look back at Marco Kasper, who's only 6% rostered on Yahoo, but he's back. He's in the top 6. He hasn't been playing with Larkin and Raymond for a while. It's been with DeBrincat and Patrick Kane. Not too shabby. Had a 2-goal, 1-assist game last week against Buffalo. Scored a goal more recently against Vegas. Didn't do much against Washington, but had 5 hits. And then today he's playing as I'm recording against Vegas. So we'll see how that turns out. But I think Marco Kasper is your just clear. He's in the top 6, and he's been able to have some decent games in the past. If you want to take a shot on Michael Rasmussen today, it's Rasmussen playing with Larkin and Raymond. There's been a few people, though, who have taken that role, so there's no guarantee all the way through next Saturday that it'll hold for Michael Rasmussen. Plus, there's also the fact that he hasn't done very much. Like his last 2 games going into today are no points and no shots. So I personally wouldn't take Rasmussen, but it's like a good spot playing with Larkin and Raymond. If he's with Larkin and Raymond all week, he's going to get a point or two. I'm pretty sure. I would think. I guess I'd say I'm kind of sure. So yeah, he's someone to go for. But I think Marco Kasper is your clear forward to take an attempt on. Remember Vladimir Tarasenko? Remember when he was like a star in the league? That feels like a while ago. He's someone that I don't even think I'm going to bring up here, even with a good Detroit schedule. He's in the bottom 6 and not doing too much with it. So yeah, I think those are your clear options on the Detroit Red Wings. Next up, we can go to the Minnesota Wild, who play Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Minnesota, of course, dealing with all of those injuries. So who's left? Who's playing in the lineup? Let's see who played today for Minnesota. They played against the Buffalo Sabres, and they won, of course, because UPL stinks. The lines were Boldy, Rossi, and Zuccarello. So Rossi's back. We talked about him being injured last weekend. And then Freddie Gaudreau centering Gustav Nyquist and Marcus Johansson. And then Hartman with Trennan and Vinny Hinostroza. These are not like such exciting lines. Then you look at the power play: Zuccarello, Hartman, Boldy, Rossi, Brock Faber. So I think Hartman is our clear, like he just had such a killer week this week. No points today. So maybe if he gets dropped, I think that's someone you grab, especially, he also plays 4 games. It's like Dallas and Minnesota, we've known for a while, have the 2 good like semifinal and finals schedules. So I think I would be jumping on a Ryan Hartman for as long as he's on the top power play there. What do we do with Brock Faber? Probably you don't target him. I have him. It hasn't worked out. I've learned my. I'm gonna be better next year. I'm gonna win next year. I'm pretty sure. This year, I don't know. I came close. I had a good stretch where it looked like my Cupful team was unstoppable, and then just everything's falling apart. And I've made some questionable decisions. I guess one is grabbing Brock Faber and then just never being able to bring myself to drop him. There was always someone else that I was gonna be benching or something, but just a game in, game out, absolutely nothing. He's still top power play though. It's so as soon as I say don't even grab him for 8 games over these next 2 weeks, he's gonna probably do something just to make me feel frustrated. But yeah, probably you don't go for Brock Faber. I would take Jared Spurgeon over him. He seems to be the one with the more offense, even though he's not on the top power play. Normally that's not how it works for a defenseman. It's actually find me another defenseman on a team that where someone else is top power play, but this person is the one who's consistently getting points. Not that Jared Spurgeon is especially consistent, but I think he would be someone to target. So yeah, you're looking at I think I would go Hartman if you can get him, then go Jared Spurgeon, and then I don't know. I guess there's Freddie Gaudreau, one of these. But I at that point maybe you just move to another team. I think at this point. So that's my Minnesota roundup. Next, we can go over to the New Jersey Devils. So yeah, I mentioned him before, Cody Glass. Good for him, by the way, because he's had a rough go in the league on a couple teams, but seems to have found a decent home here in New Jersey. And he had 5 points in a stretch of 5 games, then did nothing against Calgary. And today against Ottawa, it's currently 3-1 for the Sens as I'm recording this. Nothing for Cody Glass currently, but he is playing on a line with Jesper Bratt and Erik Haula. If it holds, Jesper Bratt's really great. Right, so that could be good. In New Jersey, like I said, they're going Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. So you're getting those 4 games by Saturday, and then you could dump him. I don't think this is a high-end guy, probably around the level of Brendan Gallagher or a Barrett Hayton, or maybe even a step below those kinds of guys, just because the downside is so low. But the upside is maybe he can get you a couple of points. So I have to obviously mention Cody Glass. I guess Erik Haula is also on this line, and Erik Haula actually had a goal in the last game against Calgary. So I think both of them are kind of similar. Just Haula's had so many injury issues. I guess it's kind of a little scary to add him for a critical week where you have limited moves. But I guess both of them, playing with Glass. And the other line is Meyer, Hischier, and Stefan Nason. So I would take Stefan Nason above the others, though believe it or not, at least in this game, I'm seeing that Timo Meyer, Nico Hischier, Jesper Bratt, and Dawson Mercer have been a power play unit. So keep your eye on that. If Nason's off top power play, then that's not the most exciting. Dawson Mercer is kind of like a Brock Faber. I don't care how much power play time or even strike time he gets. It just seems like Mercer is allergic to getting points at this point in his career. So yeah, I think Nason is like a clear guy to grab, even regardless of power play. If you're playing with Hischier and Meyer, plus like he often does get top power play, I think Nason is your top streamer on New Jersey and probably one of your top streamers of everyone I've mentioned here. Like maybe like Nason and Marco Casper. I would take Stefan Nason over Marco Casper, I think. And then I would take those Dallas guys. Like maybe like Jamie Benn and Stefan Nason are around the same. I would take Granlund and Marchment over him. But then like Nason, yeah, around the Jamie Benn level, I think. I'd be curious to know if people agree with me on this or not. Also, watch the New Jersey goalies. Markstrom has really struggled. Is Markstrom playing today? Or I guess Jake Allen's playing today. So I guess he's struggling today. So maybe Markstrom gets another game. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up just going 50-50 next week. It's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. So all you need is for like, if Allen gets the call on Monday, he's also getting in on that back-to-back. So you could get 2 games from him. Do you want them? That's for you to decide. The opponents are Vancouver, Chicago, then Winnipeg and Minnesota. So if you can avoid that Winnipeg game, that should be pretty good. The UPL, like I said, wasn't able to perform against the Minnesota Wild. So not everyone, like they do score against some goalies. So yeah, just something to consider there with those goalies. And I guess a lot of these teams that I'm talking about with 4 games include like a back-to-back there. So you could try to see if you can get 2 games from a backup goalie that you stream. Might be better than 3 or 4 games from one of these streamer level guys, depending on your league format. Okay, after the New Jersey Devils, we're still looking at 4-game teams next week. I wanted to start by focusing on teams that play finish their 4 games by Saturday, but it looks like those are done. So now I can go to the rest of them. Toronto goes Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. So you could always stream in a Toronto Maple Leaf. I got made fun of because I said not to take like Max Domi last week, and then he had a 1-goal, 1-assist game. But you know what? Since then, Domi hasn't done anything. I still feel pretty confident to once again not recommend Max Domi as a stream. So who are we taking from the Leafs? They're playing Nashville right now, by the way. The game is in progress, so I might as well give the most up-to-date information about the Toronto Maple Leafs and what's happening today. It's currently 2-2, and the 2 Leafs goals were Tavares on the power play from Marner and Matthews, and then Marner from Matthews. So Marner's on my opponent's couple team, of course. Okay, I'm just going to assume I've lost this week. Okay, every single time I see a goal, it's from someone on his team. I'm doing great. Toronto. So yeah, these goals I've told you are not streamer level players, Tavares and Matthews and Marner. So yeah, and obviously Nylander, Morgan Riley is like continued to not be that great. He's still rostered in 81% of leagues. Maybe I would be the sucker to just go and grab Morgan Riley if he's been dropped at this point for that good schedule. Looks like he's getting some power play time. I'm not sure. Like, what are they doing here? It looks like today, like a lot of players have a similar power play time so far, so it's hard for me to tell mid-game who's been on the top power play. As far as the lines go for Toronto, the forward lines, it looks like today... It's going Matthews, Marner, Nyes. So you're not going to get any of them. I'd be surprised if Matthew Nyes is out there. If he is, great streamer, 54% rostered, playing with Matthews and Marner. He's not on the greatest of hot streaks, but he does have 2 points in his last 3 games going into today. I like Matthew Nyes. He's a really good player. I guess the other clear, notable person here is, once again, Bobby McMahon. I feel like I mention him every once in a while whenever the Leafs have a good schedule. Playing today with Tavares and Nylander. And McMahon had a goal and an assist yesterday against the Rangers. So this is like kind of it can change. Like Toronto changes this around a lot, but there are stretches where Bobby McMahon is interesting. So yeah, that's a decent enough streamer. I'll put him above the Barrett Hayton level, I think, if he's going to play with Tavares and Nylander. Those are incredible line mates. It's just a matter of if he'll hold it, but maybe worth a shot. Maybe you can wait and make that move like on Tuesday if he's still there. By the way, Tuesday against Philly for Toronto, Thursday against San Jose. So that could potentially be a nice start to the week for you with some high-scoring games for the Leafs against some weak goaltending and defense. Next team here, Ottawa Senators. I got a name for you that I'm kind of interested in and watching to see how he does today. But Fabian Zetterlund finally getting a shot on a scoring line after that trade from San Jose. Today, Zetterlund was lining up with Stützle and Tkachuk for this game against the New Jersey Devils. I mentioned, by the way, that Ottawa was winning this game 3-1 at this point. Let's just take a look at these goals really quickly. Tkachuk from Sanderson and Stützle. Oh, was Zetterlund on the ice? I don't know. Okay, Batherson from Cousins and Hamanich. I'm not going to recommend Hamanich. The others probably aren't available to you. And then Perron power play goal from Giroux and Ridley Gregg. Second power play, I guess. So Perron, even though he does have a power play goal today, if he has been bumped, well, no, it looks like Perron is still playing with Cousins and Batherson. So I think that you still probably want Perron like in a deep enough league because he's been doing pretty well on this line with Cousins and Batherson. That's now his 3rd point in the last 4 games. So yeah, I think assuming like I'd be tempted to say Zetterlund higher just because I want to see how he can do, though it's a bummer that he didn't get in on that goal from what was it, Kachuk from Stutzler or something. So but maybe if it sticks, like Zetterlund has shown upside to be worth rostering longish term in fantasy at times in San Jose. If he's on the top line in Ottawa, that's incredible. They're winning today, so maybe this holds. So that's like tempting for me, but I think a safer play is probably David Perron, as long as he's going to stick with Cousins and Batherson, because we've seen him do pretty well there. So I think those are the 2 guys that you're looking at in Ottawa as potential streams if they're out there for you, which they likely are. We're talking about 20% or less rostered in the majority of leagues. After Ottawa, we can go to the New York Islanders. Guess which player on the Islanders is on the Goobs, like a couple opponent. Of course, it is Bo Horvat, who's really gone off this week. He had a goal today against Calgary, 2 goals the game before against Montreal. Obviously, you can't stream in Bo Horvat, but you probably can get at least one of his line mates. So he was lined up today with Kyle Palmieri and Thomas Holmstrom. So Palmieri is actually pointless in his last couple of games, and also pointless for a bunch of games before. Like he had 1 good game basically against Pittsburgh, 1 goal, 2 assists. Aside from that, a lot of zeros before and after. But top line, good schedule. This could be the kind of guy that you jump on. And we've seen that Palmieri does have the ability to turn it on. Like it is the Islanders, so it's no guarantee. Their opponents though are Columbus, then Vancouver, and then Tampa, Carolina on Saturday, Sunday. So maybe this is a good like Monday, Wednesday, get those first couple games from Palmieri, and then if he, makes himself look so good you can't drop, then you can always reconsider. But maybe the plan is just to drop him after those first 2 games against weak-ish opponents. So that would be Palmieri. And then, did I say Thomas Holmstrom? I'm not sure. It's Simon Holmstrom. He's got a 4-game point streak. There's been times when he's been hot before and I doubted him. Look, if he's on the top line playing 20 minutes a game, Simon Holmstrom isn't the worst option here. Assist today against Calgary. Before that, he had 3 games in a row with a goal. Not shooting a ton, but also, like 3 shots today. Not too shabby. So I think those are people that I would definitely take a look at on the top line there on the Islanders, especially for that Monday, Wednesday. And then, Anders Lee, if you can get him, he's solid enough. JG Pajot. So that second line has been Pajot, Lee, and Duclair. Pajot, getting on that second line makes him somewhat interesting. I mentioned that to Brian on a recent episode, I guess the last podcast we did. The top power play, for what it's worth today, was Palmieri, Horvat, Holmstrom, D'Angelo, and Dobson. So another feather in the cap for Holmstrom there. And then also maybe Tony D'Angelo is someone we look at again, because we were saying like, okay, now that Dobson's back, I guess dump D'Angelo because he's on top power play. All of a sudden, assist today, D'Angelo's now up to 5 assists in his last 4 games. So not too bad. And he's getting top power plays, big minutes once again. So I think Tony D'Angelo for a 4-game week, if you need D, I'd be very interested. Only one of those points, by the way, power play points. So D'Angelo is generally just like taking care of things at even strength, but there is the potential to get a power play point with those minutes if this deployment holds. Who is left? I guess we could go to the LA Kings. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday schedule for the LA Kings next week. They just put up 7 goals against the Carolina Hurricanes. RIP to Petr Kochekov managers who were probably expecting like a really solid game, and it was the only game he's played all week, and it's a negative for you. So, not a good game for him. The people who had the good games here in LA, it's like a lot of people. There's no one who had more than 2 points. It's kind of rare for when a team scores 7. But let me drop on you the players who had 2 points. And no one even had 2 goals. So all these 2 points are just 1 goal, 1 assist. Okay, no one had 2. This, actually, looking at the roster, is pretty wild. There's no one who had 2 goals or 2 assists. So it's either 1 goal, 1 assist. Is there even anyone who had nothing? Actually, I'm looking through this now. Every single forward either had a goal or an assist, and no one had 2 of either. Wild. Okay, here are the people who had 2 points. Quinton Byfield, Kevin Fiala, Tanner Jeannot, along with 6 hits. He's not gonna do that again, though. I wouldn't jump on Tanner Jeannot unless you need the hits there. Kopitar, Andrei Kuzmenko, kind of interesting. And then everyone else with 1s on either the goals or the assist side. Kuzmenko, man, what do you do with this guy? He's been so cold, but his deployment is so good. Kuzmenko is playing with Kempe Kopitar, and he's on the top power play with Kempe Kopitar, Fiala, and Doughty. Like, you can't ask for anything more, but he was just 0-0-0s forever for 9 straight games or 8 straight games. But then all of a sudden today, a goal and assist, only 1 shot. That's the thing. Like, this dude doesn't shoot. Hasn't had more than a shot in like 5 games. But I mean, I don't know. I'm tempted by that deployment. Maybe he's a Brock Faber. This is the new word. I'm going to call this a Brock Faber is when you get great deployment with big minutes and you still like somehow don't do anything. What's Kuzmenko's minutes? I guess he's not getting. I shouldn't call Kuzmenko then a favor if minutes are part of it. But good deployment, but not doing anything. Probably you can do better than Kuzmenko on LA. I'd be curious to know what people think. Like Kuzmenko versus like Trevor Moore or Phil Deneau. You know, one of these just like regular, like solid enough. Sometimes get a point. Deneau's been super cold lately. Did get an assist today. Like Moore scored a goal today. That was the goal that was assisted by Phil Deneau, and also scored in the previous game. I think I would go Trevor Moore. Maybe give me Trevor Moore, then Kuzmenko, then Deneau. And then you could also go like Laferriere. He finally got a point today. There's like a lot of options I feel like on LA for a good schedule week, but none of them like jumping off the page. I think Trevor Moore would be my number one. Of people that are like 20, he's 26% roster on Yahoo, so 26 and under. I would say Trevor Moore is someone who is a little bit interesting to me. He's running a little hot right now. He's definitely shown the ability to run hot for a while. So yeah, give me Trevor Moore as my number one stream over on the LA Kings. And then I think that brings us to the lowly Buffalo Sabres to finish this off. So what do we want to say here? I mean, Buffalo scores some goals sometimes. Dahlin's doing well lately. Tage is doing well lately. Paterka's like 2 straight games with a goal since coming back from his injury. So definitely looking really good. He scored the only goal today against Minnesota. Jason Zucker came back and he had an assist a couple games ago and 5 shots. Didn't do much against Minnesota. If we're looking at the lines for Buffalo for their loss today, they were rolling with Thompson, Ryan McLeod, and Paterka. So that's interesting. Then Tuck with Zucker and Greenway. So I guess that does make like a Ryan McLeod someone that maybe you look at. The top power play was Zucker, Tuck, Thompson, Paterka, and Dahlin. So our regulars. So I think I would go Zucker first, even if he's not on the top line anymore, just because he's still on the top power play. Like he had that assist a couple games ago. He's taking some shots. So I think Zucker's like a clear stream here to get those 4 games. And then I guess you got to go Ryan McLeod. He didn't get a point today, but before that he had 5 straight games with a point. Can't ignore that. Top line. I like it. So I'd say Ryan McLeod is high up there. Like I'd put him, if you're looking at like Marco Kasper, being like super excited about him. I guess the thing is McLeod is like less maybe likely to hold a top 6 spot since it's not like the kind of thing he's been doing for as long as Marco Kasper. But I think as long as these deployments hold, hard to make an argument for like Kasper being so much better than McLeod. And I feel like a lot of people are jumping on Marco Kasper. It is also, again, like the strength of the schedule in terms of like Detroit's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So like I said, I do like the idea that you can drop the person before Sunday. But if all else equal, I think Ryan McLeod should not be ignored at this point with this deployment. The risk is, again, it can change. So Trev, when you're putting it down, it's like how this recommendation did. It's like, I'm not saying I don't think he's going to get demoted. So it's like if he gets demoted, I almost want it to be null and void. But I'm saying it's a good spot and a good risk to take, but he has to actually hold it. I know Owen Power was available in a lot of leagues. I would definitely jump on Owen Power like above McLeod for what it's worth and probably over Zucker, especially because it's a defenseman. You could probably fit him in on those busier days. Even if right now you have room, maybe later on you're going to have another forward later in the week that you want to add, but now you won't have room. So grab the defenseman. Power had an assist today. He had a goal and 2 assists a couple games back against Boston. Obviously far from a sure thing, hence him being rostered or like available to be rostered to you potentially. But I think that's not too bad of a stream there if you could get an Owen Power. Bowen Byram is like a little bit worse, but maybe similar argument could be said. But I would take Power over Bowen Byram. So that does it. That's all of our 4-game teams this week. This has been a super long recording. Hope you liked it. Hopefully I've given you some ideas. Good luck, everyone. Hope you crush your semis, and I'll be coming back to give you some advice for the final week of the Cupful season next week, and also do another Matchup Maximizer probably the week after for people in leagues outside of the Keeping Carlson Ultimate Patriot Fantasy League. I know I'll still be in a league that has games going. So, I'll be back to talk to you tomorrow, of course, for the Mega Show with Brian. It's going to be another fun one. So make sure to subscribe to Keeping Carlson to get everything that we're putting out there. But good luck and stay tuned for more from Keeping Carlson. See ya.